Today we're taking a look at these NCAAF matches, which are happening on October 27, 2022, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification bell to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos. And if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. Multiple plans are available for each and every one of you. By becoming a member of the High Stakes Patreon, you will have access to our best team picks, total picks, parlay picks and much more. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting predictions that ends up costing you a lot of time and money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks. NC State vs Virginia Tech. The Hokies have lost 5 of their last 7 games and 3 straight road games. They have struggled offensively this season, scoring less than 20 points per game. Their running game is one of the worst in the country, and their passing game is slightly better. The Wolfpack are great against the run and have one of the best pass defenses in the country, so expect them to keep Virginia Tech's offense in check. The Wolfpack have won 5 of their last 7 games and 4 straight home games. They have played well offensively and pick up most of their yards through the air. The Hokies have struggled defensively, and their pass defense hasn't been good in recent weeks, with the team giving up close to 300 passing yards per game in their last 3 games, and will have a hard time slowing down the Wolfpack, so go with North Carolina State to cover the spread. Our team pick is Wolfpack minus 13.5 points. These two teams have not been scoring the ball very much in their latest games, as North Carolina State is averaging only 27 points per game. Virginia Tech is scoring an average of 19 points per game. The defense is where the total will be decided. North Carolina State will keep Virginia Tech out of the end zone all game, as they give up an average of 16.9 points per game. The Hokies have been a little shaky at times. In their 5 losses, they are giving up an average of 31.8 points per game. The over is 5-2 in Hokies' last 7 games following a bye week. The over is 7-3 in Wolfpack's last 10 home games. Take the over 39.5 points tonight. Southern Miss vs Louisiana-Lafayette. The Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns defense will be too much for a below-par Southern Miss offense. The Ragin' Cajuns are allowing an average of only 19.0 points per game, which is 21st in the nation, and pressure the quarterback well with 19 sacks, which has helped to produce 12 interceptions. Southern Miss quarterback Zach Wilk is prone to interceptions, being picked off 8 times this season. The Louisiana offense will churn out enough yards on the ground and through the air to produce the points needed against a Southern Miss defense that is allowing an average of 21.9 points per game. Louisiana has covered the number in each of the last 8 games when playing against a team with a winning record and in 4 of the last 5 Sun Belt Conference games. Take the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns plus 1.5 points. Southern Miss is allowing an average of 21.9 points per game, which is 36th in the nation. The Golden Eagles are allowing an average of 111.9 yards rushing and 238.0 yards passing, for a total of 349.9 yards per game. Opponents are averaging only 3.0 yards per carry against the Southern Miss defense. Cornerback Malik Shorts has a team-best 53 tackles, while lineman Dominic Quinn is the leader in quarterback sacks with 7.0, and 4 players each have 2 interceptions for the Golden Eagles. Louisiana is scoring an average of 27.0 points per game, which is 78th in the nation. The Ragin' Cajuns average 128.6 yards rushing and 227.7 yards passing, for a total of 356.3 yards per game of total offense. Louisiana averages 3.8 yards per carry and 5.3 yards per play. Quarterback Ben Wooldridge is coming off a fine performance after passing for 316 yards against Arkansas State, and on the season has 986 yards passing with 10 touchdowns and just 1 interception. Chris Smith has rushed for 264 yards to lead Louisiana and has 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver Michael Jefferson has caught 24 passes for 387 yards to lead the Ragin' Cajuns and also has a team-best 4 touchdown receptions. Louisiana and Southern Miss do not give up that many points, as the Ragin' Cajuns are allowing an average of 19.0 points per game, and the Golden Eagles allow an average of only 21.9 points per game. Louisiana's defense has 12 interceptions, which has stopped several drives for opponents, and Southern Miss has 9 pickoffs. The total has finished under in 40 of the last 57 games that Louisiana has played in the Sun Belt Conference, and in 28 of Louisiana's last 41 games overall. Take the under 43.5 points. Washington State vs Utah. After opening the season with a 29-26 loss to Florida, Utah has won 5 of its last 6 games. The Utes' only conference blemish this season came against UCLA 42-32 as a 3.5-point road favorite. Utah bounced back to beat USC 43-42 in a thriller on October 15. The Utes slightly outgained USC 562-556 in total yards, with quarterback Cam Rising having a huge game. Rising went 30 for 44 passing for 415 yards with 2 touchdowns and no picks against USC, and rushed for 60 yards with 3 touchdowns. Rising is 4th in the nation on the season, with an 89.3 QBR. Washington State outgained Oregon State 368-344 in total yardage, and both teams committed just 1 turnover. Oregon State did convert on its only 4th down attempt of the game, and Washington State went 0 for 4 on their attempts. The Cougars' running game managed just 23 yards on 20 attempts against Oregon State. Quarterback Cameron Ward threw for 345 yards with 1 touchdown and 1 interception, completing 25 of 54 passes. Utah could be due to a little bit of a letdown coming off a 1-point win over USC and 2 weaker conference foes at home, Arizona and Stanford, on the schedule following this game. Utah is also just 2-5 against the spread in their last 7 games against Washington State. I have to back the Cougars here, getting more than a touchdown at home. Washington State has covered the spread in 7 of its last 8 home games and in 9 of its last 12 Pac-12 games. Washington State also played tough in their losses, which came to Oregon at home by 3 and USC and Oregon State on the road. Go with Washington State plus 7.5 points. Last week the Washington State Cougars suffered a 24-10 loss against the Oregon State Beavers. Oregon State relied heavily on their run game to take some pressure from their quarterback, who made his 2nd career start. The Cougars allowed the Beavers to run for 203 yards and 2 touchdowns, with the longest rush being for 50 yards. They also surrendered 141 yards and 1 touchdown through the air. The Cougars are ranked 59th in total defense, allowing 2,571 total yards, while allowing an average of 367.3 yards per game and 5.29 yards per play. The rushing defense is ranked 40th, allowing an average of 123.7 yards per game and 3.43 yards per attempt. Washington State's pass defense is ranked 89th, allowing 243.6 yards per game and 11.44 yards per completion. Dayan Henley is a defensive player to watch as he has 4 sacks, 33 total tackles, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 interception for the Cougars. Washington State yields a rush offense that averages 90.1 rushing yards per game, so they heavily rely on their passing offense to get things done on the field. Ward has passed for nearly 2,000 yards this season for Washington State, while Watson has rushed for 325 yards this season. This substantial difference in passing and rushing yards points to the Cougars' play-style passing. Utah has a weapon under center with Rising. He is an accurate and consistent passer, completing nearly 70% of his passes and only turning the ball over 3 times this season. Rising is going to attack the Cougars' secondary through the air, but with a dynamic offense, the Utes also have the option to rush the ball to gain quick yards. Both of these teams rely on their passing games and will absolutely show that off. Take the over 55.5 points.